According to PlayStation Universe, using PlayStation 5 vertically can reportedly damage the console permanently due to a design flaw by Sony. Let's look into this. But before we look into it, let's check iniba.com. They offer all kinds of great games for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo and PC, and they've got plenty of great games on sale. Like you can use this 10% off code for 2022 games, or also you can check some of the games under $10. So let's give it a shot. Let's go with Mortal Kombat 11. It's a great game, so all you have to do is just buy now or add to cart, and you can add more games to the cart later. All you have to do now is just proceed to checkout, select payment of your choice, and you are done. Remember guys, iniba.com, they got plenty of great games for your console, so check it out. Link is in the description of this video below. Okay, so let's talk about that report by PlayStation Universe. Now, we've been talking about PlayStation 5 cooling system many times, and one of the biggest kind of surprises, I guess, was the fact that Sony decided to go with liquid metal cooling. So basically, in every, I guess, heatsink chip scenario, you would use thermal paste for the most part, but PlayStation decided to go with liquid metal. Now the problem is that it has to be really very tightly sealed, right? No leakage, no spills, because otherwise you may get system damage, right? And looks like that's actually happening with some of these consoles. Not obviously all of them, because I've been using my PlayStation 5 for over 2 years. Nothing happened really, but so basically PlayStation Universe reports that there is a report that has revealed that using PlayStation 5 from a vertical position is going to do some serious damage over time due to major design flaw on Sony's part. While Sony's official and numerous tech websites have said that it doesn't matter which way the PlayStation 5 is used, a number of hardware experts and console retail shops 2 years after launch have found that using it vertically can damage the system permanently. The problem lies with the fact that liquid metal used to cool the APU is prone to spilling and becoming uneven, which impacts the cooling. The owner of I Love My Console, a retail shop in France, has been trying to raise this issue to a wider audience for months now, claiming that this problem is not an isolated issue. And we've got some pictures over here, so you can see this is the actual chip on the motherboard, and this is actually the cooling part of the cooling system and the casing. And I've never used liquid metal for that really. Every time I had to clean my CPU or CPU in the computer and stuff, I would use thermal paste. So I'm not really sure how even apply. I mean, you can't really apply it like manually, I guess, like, because this is the casing, and you see that this is actually just has to be this has to be very tight. Now the interesting thing about this report is that this shop owner claims that there's a high risk of PlayStation 5s that are being used vertically for a lengthy period of time, and it is limited to just one model, so it applies to all models, with both the standard and digital editions impacted. The problem lies with the PlayStation 5 seal between the APU and its cooler can sometimes move or become damaged. However, if PlayStation 5 is positioned horizontally, the liquid metal will remain flat, and majority of its thermal properties will be used to help cool the console. If something bad happens to the seal when stood vertically, there's a high risk that the liquid metal will progressively fall down, impacting the cooling ability and even reaching components it otherwise shouldn't. Okay, so obviously this is not like huge issue per se, like it's not like impacting all the consoles like all the time. I think it's basically what it's all about. It's more about like the in case that this seal, right, this casing that holds the liquid metal in its place becomes, if that breaks for whatever reason, well, for heat reason, gravity, because, you know, like the, you know, who knows, like sometimes things may be fitted, you know, incorrectly and that kind of stuff. Like, you know, this is actually one of those issues that like a lot of electronic producers have. Like some part of their, you know, devices will be just damaged, right? And that's why you've got, you know, guarantee and that warranty and that kind of stuff, right? Like if something happens to your console within first a year or two, then you can just replace it, right? So like obviously we can discuss whether or not it was a good idea to use the liquid metal, but you know, the fact alone that having that console placed horizontally, not vertically, well, lower the risks of that packaging becoming damaged, right? Because that's the real issue. It's not really the liquid metal, but that packaging, if that is fitted properly and it's you know, done properly, there shouldn't be any issue, right? But for whatever, like obviously over time things break. So like then if that packaging breaks and your console happens to be placed, you know, vertically, yeah, there you may have an issue on your hands. Like not necessarily now, maybe in the future, but if it's vertically, then you know, well, there's less risk of a spill, because you know, it doesn't, you know, it's just gravity. The actual liquid is pushed down, not like, you know, to the side if it's like vertically, right? It's just gravity, I guess, basically, right? So yeah, I mean, it's just something to keep in mind, I guess. Like if you can put your PlayStation 5 horizontally, I would do it. That's not a major issue, I guess. You know, I'm sure that as PlayStation will shrink the APU even further, I bet they will actually go with just a standard thermal paste. I also heard that it's possible that the latest model isn't it using the normal thermal paste already. I've heard somebody saying that, but I'm not sure if that's actually true. But listen, you know, PlayStation, or should I say Sony, is using liquid metal for a reason. They really need to cool that chip down because it's running at very high clock speeds, and is actually using quite a lot of energy. So yeah, they need to do its best to actually make sure that the actual chip is being cooled properly. And unfortunately, sometimes, like the more sophisticated the cooling system is, it's more prone to, like, you know, damages and that kind of stuff, right? So, you know, that's the thing with electronics right now. I'm afraid it's just becoming more and more complicated, and these things happen, right? Like, look what's going on with these PC cards, like the latest RDNA 3 and NVIDIA cards. Like, you know, the cables melt because of the amount of power these cards actually use, and you know, everything is actually so hot and stuff. It's not the same kind of level of power usage and that kind of stuff, but the temperatures are still hot in the consoles as well. I mean, just put your hand behind your console and you can feel that warm air coming out of it, right? So guys, I wouldn't really worry much about it. If your console works, it works. Yeah, if you want your console to work longer, consider putting it horizontally, not vertically, and that's it really, right? So guys, that's the video. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for support. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, remember to share this video on social media. That always helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care.